guys, thanks for tuning back into Nail Art Madness. Today I'm going to be doing a Halloween nail tutorial. It is called the Witchy Woods. It was actually inspired by an art channel on YouTube called The Art Sherpa. I really enjoy watching her videos. She has really taught me a lot as far as learning new and different techniques and sort of perfecting my own as well. She's really easy to learn from. And I was scrolling through some of her older fall festive Halloween videos and I came across this one, the Adorable Witch Sisters in the Woods, and I thought this would look really great on a nail. So I asked her permission to sort of do a recreation of the design and she agreed. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Now, I did practice a lot on paper before I actually tried to do it with the nail. And you'll see some of that here. I did a lot of practice nails. I practiced it on paper, and it took me a few days to really get the hang of it before I was comfortable with actually putting it on a nail and doing a tutorial about it. And it's still not perfect, but I was happy with the outcome. So I really hope y'all enjoy this video. This will be a silhouette nail art, so you're really going to need your black nail polish or your black paint, whatever you're using. But you can sketch in your design with a pencil, with a lighter color polish or paint, and then go back over it. Now, I did start with the background, and I did sort of an ombre look for the background. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this for the tutorial because everyone sort of knows how to do an ombre look. And this really isn't a traditional ombre design. I just sort of put the polish on the nail where I wanted it and just buffed it into the nail. There's a mixture of yellows and greens and oranges, but my main focus was really working that yellow in the middle because that's where my design's going to be, and I really wanted that yellow to shine through, and I just sort of swirled some greens and oranges into it. But I really liked it, and I think it worked well for the background on this nail. So just a little side note here, when I first started doing the design, my camera was not filming. I do apologize about that. But good news is whatever you do on one side, you're going to be doing on the other side. So you can literally just copy, flip it on the other side, and it's going to be the same thing. If you're going to have it facing toward the end of your nail or up toward the tip, will be where you add your little dot that we're going to do here. And I'm going to do it with the same color that I'm using for my background, or a color that I can easily manipulate or polish over or buff out later, because it's just going to be like a guide line or a guide dot showing me where the center bottom of my nail is. What I've done is I started sort of about in the middle of the nail, and I've done a smile line or C shape curving down toward that dot in the center middle of my nail. And that's going to be where my witches are standing. That's going to be their dresses. And I'm not really focused on how that line's going to look as it goes down off the nail. I'm just pulling it down toward the center of that dot. It doesn't have to touch it. I want to keep my lines thin. You don't want to leave them big and bulky. I can always go back in and thicken it up. This is also going to be part of the heart design, so you want to make sure that it's curving down toward the middle. Next, I'm going to go in and add the top of the dress, the chest area of the witches, and for that, it's just a really simple circle. Now, you want this to be a medium circle compared to your sketch lines. Keep it small. Again, you can build up those circles. I'm going to do that on both sides, and I'm also going to keep the circles angled with their sketch lines. Now I'm going to go in and give the witches sort of their own individual flowy dresses, and for that I'm just going and thickening up my black smile lines. And I'm just sort of going to pull with my nail brush sort of diagonal of the sketch line, like a little squiggly line, and that's going to be the flow of the dress. You're going to do the same thing on your other witch as well, and you can thicken up those smile lines just a little bit, but remember you want them to be a little bit thinner than your circle, your chest piece. Your nail should sort of look like you have a set of rounded horns on the nail. It's going to look real funky at first, but it'll all come together. Now I'm going to go in and do the heart shape. I'm going to go in where the inner circles are of each witch and round down a small thin black line. So I'm just going to curve it and pull down. I'm not going to pull too far down until I get both of the sisters' hands sort of meeting in the middle to make that heart shape. And if you need to, you can always pull down a little bit further. But you want to keep these lines a little thin because these are the hands that are reaching down in the middle. Next, I'm going to add in my neckline for both of the witches, and it's just a straight up and down line. Now, I don't want the neckline to disappear when I add the head shape, so I'm going to make the line just a little bit taller than what I normally would make it. Alright, for the witches' heads, again, it's just a simple circle. I sort of did mine more of an ovalish circle shape. You want it to be about the same size as your chest piece for the dresses, maybe a little bit bigger. Just keep in mind, if you do the heads too big, it might end up being a little cartoony, and that's one of the reasons why I like to start smaller and I can build up if I need to. Now it's time to add in the hats that the witches are going to be wearing. I want a nice, thin, pointy hat. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the hat shapes, and for that, I'm just adding in a diagonal line, more of an angled line actually. And I'm going to angle those lines sort of away from each other, facing opposite directions on both the witches. So if you put their hats together, it makes sort of like a roof shape, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean in the video. And then I'm going to go in and do a nice, thin triangle shape and fill all of that empty space in with black. Alright, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add part of the second arm of the witches, which is going to be on the outer circles. Now you can go ahead and add in your full arm of the witches if you want to, if you're not going to add in any extra details sitting beside of the witches. But I'm going to give the witches a nice long staff. So I'm just going to do a straight line coming out of each outer circle. That's going to give me sort of the height of the witch's arm. And then I'm going to draw in their staff. I have to show you on a practice nail how I did the staffs. So this is not the same nail, but I did not record the staffs that I sketched in on my original nail. I'm sorry about that. For some reason, I just didn't hit record. And so I'm going to show you that on a practice nail, but it's literally the same way on the tutorial nail. I'm starting off just about the height of my second arm on the witches, and I'm doing a thicker black curvy line going down off the nail, and it's sort of getting thinner as I pull down off the nail. And I'm going to do that on both sides for the witches, and then I'm going to go back on top of that staff and I'm going to add in just a little curvy sketch design and connect it to the top of the staff. And you can do any design here. You can do a star, you can do a moon, you can do anything you want. I just did a little swirly squiggle design and connected it down to the staff. Now for their arms to connect to the staff, I'm just pulling from their half arms that I made on their outer circles, and I'm just pulling that arm down to the staff. As simple as that. Now my next step is to sort of blacken out my nail. I want the nail to sort of look like it's a picture frame, and I want the witches to look like they're standing on uneven ground. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my polish brush, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off that little heart shape. I want to keep that heart shape. And then I'm going to do like an uneven ground look. I'm just going to take the bottom of the brush and just sort of tap on some polish. I'm not worried about if it's opaque or if it's even. I'm just letting it do its own little thing. I want it to look like it's a stumpy tree and you have some weird barks coming out. I want it to make it look natural. And now I'm going to go in and add some trees. I really want it to look like the witches just walked into this big forest and they're sort of standing in this open clearing in the woods, and the trees are coming, down around them or surrounding them. So I'm pulling from the corner of the nail at the top, and I'm doing a nice squiggle line that gets thinner as it goes out. Now if you're not really good at doing trees, the best thing to do is do V shapes with squiggle lines. That will make a perfect tree every time. And I'm going to add in just a couple more details, which is the hair on the witches, and I'm also going to add in like the frillies on their dresses. I'm not really sure what that's called. It's when they open up their arm and it's like their sleeve sort of hangs down. We'll just go with that. So I want to start with their hair, and I'm just pulling like little thin black strands, keeping them connected because you want to keep with your silhouette look, but just to sort of give the witches like they have some hair coming from the back of their hats. And now I'm going to do the same thing where their sleeves would be on their arms. And I'm not going to make these even. I'm going to do some small lines and some curvy lines and some long lines and sort of blend it all together to where it looks like when they open up their arm, their sleeve sort of just hangs there instead of just having this skinny plain arm. So now that the nail's complete and I'm waiting on it to dry, let's go over some of the detail that we did. One thing that I love about the nail is sort of like the tree bark that comes up. We have the heart shape. It looks like the witches are standing on like this little hill that comes down and meets in the middle, so it looks like a heart in the center. If you don't get the perfect heart, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing and it'll get easier and easier. Some of my practice nails, I did really good hearts, and some of them not so good hearts. Some people can just splat, make the perfect nail art design. Me, I have to work really hard at it. And I know this is a longer video than I normally do, but I really wanted to show y'all and go through the detail and the practice work that needs that I had to do anyway for the design. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. It takes just a second. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click the bell option also so you'll be notified when I upload new content. And I will see y'all guys next time.